Welcome to the You Can't Handle the Truth sports podcast. There are those who call me rubbish, who are rubbish themselves because they don't know what they're talking about. And then I've got my great mate there, the pistol, the legend, the man who knows all about fantasy, who knows all about gambling, who knows all about football in general, he knows all about sports in general. We've got the pistol. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, very good, mate. Very good.
Very good? Very great. Fantastic. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. And holy shit, we have got a lot to talk about because it's been a couple of weeks since we last dropped a pod.
Yep.
And that's not a euphemism. So we've got a lot to talk about. And the Dockers, mate, the Dockers. There's a reason why I'm bald. Isn't male pattern baldness. It is because I have been a Fremantle, what do you call it, toe sucker for a long, long time, as you are. And
where are coming from as well.
Yeah, it's a tough gig. It's the hardest gig in the world, I reckon. Hardest supporting gig in the world to be a Fremantle supporter. But that's okay. We love them. And, it's been a rough couple of weeks, but not all bad, right? Because the way I see it is that we played two teams that I consider to be top 4-6 teams, Carlton and Port. Port, I actually personally consider Port to be a top 2 team, really. But, we played them away, played them in South Australia, and, mate, we should have fucking beaten both of them. If we weren't shafted by the umpires, I know we had our own part to play in this, but if we weren't shafted by the umpires against Carlton, then we would have won that game. And I kind of feel like umpires had their say in the Port game as well, a little bit, although I think that is maybe a little bit more on our, lack of composure. But anyway, mate. What do you got to say, mate? The Carlton Port games, hard work, weren't they?
Yeah, the Carlton game, I was a bit ropeable for a little bit there. I was peeking. Sent you a few messages.
I'll read them out.
24 hours later, sort of, you look at it at the game as a whole, and there was one call, the touch call in the last quarter, but then you go back into quarter one and go, they missed this one, they missed that one, they missed this one. So those ones get highlighted. I think a few people have commented on that the ones in the last couple of minutes get accentuated a little bit more. It was a wrong call. AFL admitted it. Is what it is. And then, we went away, reviewed the game. I mean, take that touch call out of it. We're up by 9 points with, 5 minutes to go. Both games. First game, we review it, and then we make similar mistakes in the second game against Port. I mean, we're still, I hate to use this word, but we're still a young side, and we haven't been in too many of these positions late in the game. Carlton are almost experts at it now, and Port have been in some close games as well, so they've got the experience at that end of the game, whereas we really don't. We haven't been in too many close games over the last year or so with those young players, so I think we're only just going to get better.
So, I agree with you. You know how hard I am on the coaching and and the club in general. But you also know that I've got that direct link through to the highest man at that team, and I spoke to him, and so there are a lot of people out there who don't use experience as an excuse. I know that there are people at the club who believe that, look, the fact is that how often are how often has Josh Tracy been in a situation where he needs to take a mark? Not that he wouldn't need to take a mark at any point, but how often has he been in a situation at that level where you've got to be there, you've got to be in the right position, you've got to, body your guy out, you've got to do the little things. How often has Hayden Young been in that situation? Not that he did anything poorly in either of those games, but I just feel I am not one to use youth as an excuse, but what I draw back to now is okay, let's look at the game style. We've been playing, a lot of people would say boring footy, and last year and the year before, I would be with the guy saying, fuck, we don't kick goals, they're no good. Actually, this year, I see a slight difference in that it's not that we're not willing to attack, it's just that we're being so uncompromising and so airtight with our defence that we're strangling teams. And when we get our opportunities, we do go through the middle. Whereas last year, I didn't feel like we even took,
Yeah,
even if
100%.
there was the opportunity in the middle, we wouldn't take it. Whereas now, I feel like that game style is just this tough, uncompromising style. Now, the last couple of games have been very hard to take. They have been very. I myself have been pretty. I haven't even gone onto the AFL website. I love listening to First Crack and all the rest of all the stuff that everyone does. I just haven't been able to get myself to it because I've been so annoyed after the losses. I don't know whether you're like that.
Yeah, I'm exactly like that. Yeah, I did watch some of them after the Carlton game. I just wanted their take, I guess, on initially the touch call, and then just how we were in general, game style, and the rest of it. And I mean, for the most part, it's been complimentary, and basically what you've just been saying about game style, where we've been strangling sides. But when you're watching the game and you talk about the lack of scoring, you, the commentators the last 2 weeks, they're bringing that in. They're saying, almost calling this boring before a ball's bounced. This is going to be a
Yeah,
low scoring game, blah, blah, blah. I think it's also the opposition as well. We're strangling them that much. They're changing their
yeah,
game style to suit. Adelaide did it in round 3 or whatever it was. Um, they haven't been that defensive, and I think going forward as well, they haven't been that slow going forward all year until they met us. They were chipping it
yeah.
around pretty much across midfield, trying to get an entry into the forward 50, and it just slowed the game right down. It limited our opportunity to do that slingshot off turnover.
Yeah, yeah, I 100% agree with you. I feel like, we I personally have also been critical of the game style, but this year it feels different.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find there's a subtlety here. There's a subtlety or a nuance here that I'm trying to work out why this year feels different to last year. Um, and I think you're right. Part of it is that last year it felt like that we had opportunities to go and attack and we just wouldn't do it and we didn't have the confidence or we didn't whatnot. This year it feels like we're not getting those opportunities as much because the opposition are counteracting the way we're playing. So it's like they're going, well, these guys are so good. actually we can't give them that opportunity. And so when we do get the opportunity, we've been taking it. That's when we've been. I mean, Josh Tracy kicked 3 goals out of nowhere in a quarter
Yep.
because, Port let their guard down and we ran straight through the middle and bang, bang, bang. So it kind of feels like this year that, all right, the reason why it doesn't feel as painful, the losses were still very painful, but the reason why the game style doesn't feel as painful is because if given the opportunity, it feels like we're actually going to take it. Whereas last year, it was frustrating because it felt like all we were doing was just defend, 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 and then when it was our turn, we wouldn't even bother trying to take it. That's what it felt like. I'm sure it's not what was being coached. Yeah,
And that was the
yeah,
general consensus in the media as well on those shows we were talking about before, is the game style and I guess the hold up, the chip. So on that turnover, we weren't looking to go corridor like we have this year, biting that 45 off, um, but Hayden Young in that centre, and Clark and Ryan down back, and the rest of them, Aish, they're elite coming out of that defence, and the kicks
yeah,
that they're nailing out of that defence to our midfielders has been insane. Sharp as well.
yeah. Yeah, no, there's never. I don't think we've got any problems with our back line or our defensive midfield. We, we'll talk about the Western Derby coming up. I don't even know if the Eagles are going to kick a goal. I know there's a lot of people going, "Oh, the Eagles won't even get fucking close," and if they do, that'll be on us. I can't see how they're
And,
putrid, piss poor, disgusting midfield and even worse forward line could even register a point against that defence. But we'll see. Um, we'll get into that a bit later. But
yeah,
you're right. We've got some attacking defenders there who have great skills, and they can do some real damage themselves. And that's what Justin Longmuir has said. He goes, our offense is based off our attacking defense.
yep,
So he is very much of the whole slingshot, not slingshot. It's more like the NFL quarterback go backwards to go forwards kind of a mentality,
yep,
which I think Craig McRae also, subscribes to. So, if you've got some good attacking defenders like that who've got skill, who've got pace, who can do some damage, then yeah, you should be able to get some scores. But I think this week will be the week where we really, I'd expect us if we don't score 100 points this week. Well,
yeah. I think it'll be a similar sort of scoreline to the last game, to be honest. And we hit 100 points in that game, and they only scored like 30 points. So I'm expecting something very much the same. I know we'll talk about it later, but
yeah. Just going back to the 2 games we lost. Look, both of those games we should have won. We should be 5-0.
yeah,
We really should be 5-0. And in our first podcast, I think you and I were talking about the fact that we would be 0-5.
yeah,
So it would be silly, and it would be lack integrity for us to not actually recognize the fact that, hey, and put our hands up and say we were completely fucking wrong.
yeah.
me,
But
me, as much as anyone, completely wrong. Now, I'm not saying that we weren't, our analysis didn't mean that, we were looking at the facts,
yeah,
maybe
last
looking at
year's
it
result, and
correctly.
then we're looking at pre-season, which didn't look like it had changed. So the
No,
game, the Port game we played in pre-season was a completely different team that played on the weekend.
that was not the same game plan and certainly, obviously, not the same players either
Yeah,
because we're missing Omis and
yeah.
Tracy
But
and a
even
few others.
the plan you're
But
talking about, yeah,
but the plan that was nothing like what we played Port. Like
absolutely.
Port we were lucky. They were lucky they won that game. They were, even the Bailey Banfield thing, like even when they got in front, like Banfield should have got a free kick. We could have easily just kicked that forward and got a goal. And
Yeah,
I mean, woulda, coulda, shoulda. But yeah, I just feel like you know we've got to recognise ourselves here that 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 0-5 mentality and anger and angst that we've had, whilst justified at the time, has proven, I believe, not to be realistic. And clearly, it goes to the old saying: nothing is ever as good as it seems, and nothing is ever as bad as it seems. And I think that we've gotten here a game plan that probably stacks up a little bit better than what we had originally thought. Would you
yeah,
agree with that?
yeah. Completely agree there. And I think we said at the time we'll be the first ones to fall on our sword if it turns around and it's a complete opposite of 0-5, which it just about, well, realistically, we probably should be 5-0. There's
Yeah.
periods during those two games where we were that dominant, we could have put both sides away.
I think that's what makes it so annoying.
Yeah,
Like for me, it makes it so annoying because like if you get beaten by 30 points or whatever, you go, all right, well, that's the better side. The annoying
yeah,
thing for me is the fact that we were clearly the better side, I think, in both of those games.
yeah.
Like, I know that Carlton won by 10 points. They won by 3 points, really. That
They shouldn't
last,
have had the opportunity to get within that. So,
no. We were 9 points up with 4 minutes to go. They were not a 10-point better side than us. We
uh,
fucked it, and we got shafted by the umpires at the same time.
yeah,
So that one makes it hard. That one, the umpiring component to that makes it very hard for me because it kind of feels like we got shafted. The Port game annoys me more than the Carlton game
yeah,
because I legitimately feel like we had players do things that they would not normally do,
yeah,
and gave opportunities to their better players to do things that they would normally do.
yeah.
So, like, yeah, it was very frustrating. The Port Adelaide game was very, very frustrating because I was at my mother in law's 70th. I'm sitting there and I'm watching. I'm going, how are you doing this? Like, why? How do you drop that mark? How do you how do you miss that tackle? Because that's what you do all the time. Like we've seen you do it. You did it all game, and then you missed it there, and then they run down the other end and kick a goal. And
Yeah,
so that Port game probably annoyed me more than most.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that brings us to round 6, right? And that brings us up against the old enemy, the West Coast Witches hats. They are a disgrace, and I don't give a shit what they did against another disgrace, Richmond. Um, they are a pathetic organisation who have, I believe, limited ability such that I'm not sure they'd beat South Mandurah Football Club. So I can't wait to fuck them up this week.
I can't believe the talk that I'm hearing, even from some Freo supporters,
I
about
know.
how this game might be close.
Mm-hmm.
I I think they're going to get a rude shock. This is going to be like last week. North Melbourne hadn't played too badly in the weeks leading up to coming against Geelong, and then all of a sudden they get absolutely spanked. That's what's going to happen this week. I know they've went. I've got a little comment for later, but I know they were right against Sydney and they had a win against Richmond, but I think Richmond are pretty much fighting for the wooden spoon this year. And
Yeah. If you remember my ridiculous ladder prediction at the start of this year, I had Melbourne as getting 19 games, but I also had Richmond winning the wooden spoon.
yeah, you did.
So maybe, how funny would it be? How funny would it be? Maybe I'm right. Maybe I am actually just this legend who knows football better than everyone. What do you reckon?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you maybe get one right. There's 18 teams there, so you might get one.
Look, Richmond. They've got 25 players on their list of players who are out of contract. Can you believe that? That's one thing. Second thing, they've got like 19 players on their injury list. So
Yeah, I did
I,
see somewhere
I
during
just,
the week they had 1,200 games of experience out injured.
I just really, really hope that the Dockers take this opportunity. They take this opportunity because you're right. They've got these people, the Eagles have got their they're peacocking like the
Yeah,
fuckheads that they are. I just hope they take this opportunity to really just go, you know what? You guys are a waffle team. We are going to be up by 60 points at quarter time. How good would it be if we kicked the first 10 goals of the game and just flogged them, and then really, yeah, just really turn the screw so that basically all of that hope and goodwill that they built up by last week against a shit Richmond team, just go, well, actually, you know what, this is where we're at because we played a decent side. And yeah, I hope that's what happens. But you never know with Freo because it's Freo. But I see that this week we've got Sean Darcy and who is the other one?
Sam Sturt.
Sam Sturt, my man, my man.
It's a pretty strange one because he wasn't super for Peel last week, so
Ah,
I think he like Switkowski and Taberner's out, so I think it might have been a case of Sturt was closest to a like for like for Switkowski, I guess.
I would have thought that Simpson would have been more of a like for like for
Yeah, he
Sweet.
missed last week with the illness though, so his name was an emergency.
I would have thought Delane would have been closer to a
Yeah,
like for like, and
he
he's been
hasn't been.
kicking goals.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't reckon this has got to do with like for like. I reckon this has got to do, personally, I reckon this has got to do with the fact that as much as Freo people want to rip Sam Sturt and I did too this year, his preseason was abysmal. But look at what he did last year. At the end of last year, he played, 10 games in a row and he was kicking goals every game. I reckon this comes down more to the fact that he proved himself last year
yeah,
and we need forward line power. And rather than another midfield, I also think that it's got to do with the fact that we usually play Jager O'Meara as a sub. If it's not him, then it's going to be Erasmus. You've got a very ordinary West Coast midfield, like a shithouse midfield. And our midfield should smack them. So we don't have a reason to bring in another mid forward. We would be better served by playing another forward. That's my view.
yeah, yeah. Looking at that Eagles list there, or not list, but team, just looking across the lines there, I can't see how any of those lines are going to trouble any Freo player.
I, I can't see how any of those lines would trump Peel Thunder. They are shit. And yeah,
Good
I,
luck to whoever gets Luke Jackson this week,
yeah, yeah, like
as well as try and keep tabs on Tracy and Miss.
yeah, like Sean Darcy is going to destroy Bailey Williams even without a preseason. Like, he's going to do that anyway.
Yeah,
So when Luke Jackson goes in there, who West Coast going to run through? It won't matter who they run through there because he would smack Bailey Williams anyway. So yeah,
just looking
yeah,
at their
this
defence, right? So you take Barras and McGovern, so that's just say arguably it'd be Tracy and a miss, right, for those two. Then you've got to come up with a matchup for Luke Jackson. Now the other defenders named are Witherden, Hoff, Hunt, and Cole.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I reckon
Josh,
Rod Tregenza today, as a 50-year-old, would kick a bag on them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
this is gonna get ugly.
yeah, it should. Now, will it? I don't know. It's yet to be seen. But
Got ugly
I hope,
last game. Was it last game we kicked like 10, 15 in a row or some shit?
yeah, last game we beat them by 100 points or something,
Yeah,
105 points or something. It should be like that. It really should be. And if it's not, I tell you what, and I've been saying this and I've been getting a lot of pushback. If I've been saying that if we don't beat them by 60 points, then we should consider that a loss. They are a joke.
100%. 100%.
They are a disgrace. And they have no talent. They've got no game plan, and they have very, very little redeeming features about that football club at AFL level. So we'll see. We'll see. Hey, if it wouldn't be the first time I'm wrong, but Jesus, I would have to be epically wrong. Like, this should really be a flogging. We should be talking about percentage here.
Absolutely. I can't see this being close.
Like,
We
one of the
need to be
few.
at least 3 to 4
What,
goal a quarter side better.
Yeah, yeah. One of the few benefits we get with our fixture is the fact that we get to play West Coast twice. So,
100%.
we should really be flogging the shit out of them. But yeah. Anyway, I believe their in is the guy who kicked that goal. What's his name? He's
Dom
shit,
Sheed.
but everyone. Yeah, Dom Sheet. That's right. That guy. And Edwards is out. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't see any issues there. Who's your money? I'm going to give a rare punt tip because I know that's your view.
Yeah.
Your go. Who is your Glendenning Allen medalist tip?
I think you will see Sarong just go absolutely ballistic in the midfield.
Okay, I think he'd be the favourite. I personally believe that Jackson's going to kick 5 or 6 goals, and I reckon he's going to win it. I reckon because I can see him getting 20 touches, 6 goals, and everyone going, "Holy shit, this guy is everything that we thought Nick Natanui was going to be, but never was."
Yeah, because he actually marks the football.
Yeah, he marks a football and kicks goals and actually gets the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just as a flashy thing once every 3 games.
Every 3, every 7, every
That'd be
10.
nice, I guess.
Yeah, you were. You've been a good bloke. If I had a second, if I was to do a what is it called, a Quinella,
Yeah.
first and second, my second choice would be Jai Amos because I reckon he'll kick a bag. I reckon he could kick a bag too. Either one of those two, I think one of those two guys are going to kick like 1 or 2 hands worth of goals.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so that'd be good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. Just I am looking forward to next week. Put it that way. I've got a lot of people there that they're gonna get some comeuppance.
Yeah. I think a little bit of reality is going to set back in this week, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, it's good
Yeah.
stuff. It's good stuff. All right. So I guess looking into other teams and other things that have gone on lately, saw that Van Rooyen JVR signed with Melbourne till
Yeah.
2029.
Yep.
Um, I think if you don't recruit a player and they go, interstate, I think a lot of West Australians tend to go, "I will just get him back." And I've said that before. I've said that about Logan McDonald, and Logan McDonald apparently is indicating he wants to stay in Sydney. I thought he was a lock to come home, but apparently not.
Yep.
It just shows that if if you think that they're just going to come home, well, they're not necessarily. That's going to happen.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean Sydney's obviously a pretty good environment. Everyone talks about their culture, and once you're there, you don't want to leave. I think Goulden's given up a potential offer interstate back where he's from to stick around.
Both South, both South Australia and Fremantle. So apparently, Adelaide and Fremantle
Yep.
had offered ridiculous amounts of money.
And who was the other one I was going to mention? Warner. Chad Warner's the other one that would have shunned both WA clubs. They would have been an interest to an extent.
Oh, is he signed? Has he?
He's contracted for another 2, and he'll probably re-sign after that. He's got his brother over there as well, so
Yeah, but his brother's garbage. His brother will be delisted at the end of this year.
yeah. But I guess so. I think I put in our run sheet here. Freo all dressed up with the three first rounders, but no date for the dance. So I think it's a good spot to be in. Like even with those 2 players we spoke about, we would have put those picks aside in case. Now that we're performing the way we are, and we're having 3 first rounders, we've been highly critical of David Walls in the past and that whole list management team. So, question without notice here: what's your thoughts around where that currently sits?
Yeah, so I am still highly, highly critical of David Walls and Peter Bell. I don't understand why we consistently recruit key defenders and backmen when our biggest problem has always been midfield and forward line. So right now, as we speak, Draper, Murphy, you got Pierce, Ryan, Cox, McDonald, Davies. That's 7. Now, okay, take Ryan out of it. That is 6 key defenders. And yes, depth is great, but let's look at it from this perspective. Sonny Walters, Emmett,
Yep. Who's your next small forward?
that's it. Like, people will say Switkowski. Well, actually, they're trying to run him more through the midfield because we also don't have midfield depth.
Yep.
So,
Didn't kick a lot of goals as a small forward anyway.
no, he never did he? So, and we lost Schultz, and you'd argue, oh, well, we lost Schultz. Yeah, well, actually, that's our fault as well. So, my concern is that I'm happy for us to take 3 first-round picks into this draft. I'd be happy unless we were to get somebody like Shai Bolton.
Yep.
And even him, I wouldn't want to be given more than...
How old is he? Mid-20s?
24, maybe?
Yeah.
So he would be a fantastic player for us, but I don't think he wants to come back. No, I seriously don't believe that. Like, Richmond would never let him go. He's under contract. They would say, oh, we want 3 first rounders. We want 3 first rounders. He's not worth that.
And let's look at who's left on that list. Dusty's rumoured to be going. Baker's rumoured to be going. There's a lot of cash to be thrown around at Shai Bolton to stay. So
Yeah, yeah. So I kind of feel like we're going to end up. You know, there's also talk about us trying to get Baker, uh, mate. I kind of feel like we overrate draft picks. I think draft picks, the actual value of a draft pick is not what everybody makes it out to be,
yeah,
right? Because you can get a player like Luke Ryan in a rookie draft. But the problem is that when you're looking for forward line talent, like or ridiculously good midfield talent, like what we need, the history of gun forwards as a rookie pick just isn't there, or a
yeah,
late pick just isn't there.
yeah,
So I kind of feel like I'd be okay if we just took those three picks and just went best forward, best forward, best forward. But the problem is that is not what Walls does. That is not what Walls and Bell do. What they do is best available, and what we'll get is another halfback flanker or another key defender, and that is not what we need.
yeah,
So it's a really frustrating conundrum, and I feel like as an outsider looking in at the way that the club is run, I just don't feel like David Walls has the mindset that would allow that to happen.
yeah.
I don't know what you think about that, but
No, I tend to agree. I just think we we don't normally stockpile, I guess, picks like this unless one we identified someone we needed to trade for, and we believed the list that we currently had was good enough that we didn't need to take those picks to the draft. I don't know. From what we've just been talking about, I don't think the list is at a spot where we just trade all three away. Um, I don't know who's around as a small forward, as a forward to go out and get if those two are off the market. Um, there might be someone left field that might want to change. Might be open to coming west. Not too many people are. They don't like doing the flight every second week. It's been a hindrance in the past.
there isn't many non-West Australians who will come here. Like James Asher's one. I mean, once they've already established
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
career, you wouldn't get many. Oh, James Asher's like the only one I can think of at the moment. Jarrett Redden for the Eagles was a
Yeah,
good one. Like he was a South Australian and he come and got a premiership here with the Eagles and I think he won a best and fair. So he came
yeah,
over here. It's very rare that you get an established footballer to come here.
yeah, 100%.
Um,
You can get them going to your Brisbanes and Sydneys because it's only a short plane ride down to your Sydney, and so if you're a
but
Brisbane
also the
fan,
money. They
yeah,
also get more money by going there.
yeah, 100%. So
Lockie Neal got more money because of the. I mean, he was always going to leave anyway. It wouldn't matter whether it was South Australia, Victoria, where. But he got more money because they've got a bigger salary cap.
yeah,
So, you know, I don't know. I really don't know what we're going to do with those three picks, but I wouldn't be against us just taking them to the draft and saying, you know what, we're just going to pick the three best forwards. But like I said, I just don't believe Walls and Bell have that in them.
yeah. I mean, I
Are
haven't had
they?
a look at who the draft crop coming through this year is. So I mean, there might be a case for us to couple two of the picks up to get us up the order to grab one of the highly touted players.
Yeah.
Might be something
The
we
other the other thing is that this is one other. I guess the other point to this is that Andy Brayshaw is a pre-agent. So I think he's out of contract at the end of next year. Now, I know everybody loves him. He's a club man, great guy. Everybody loves him, except me. Um, I'm not saying he's not a good player. He is a good player. Not a great player. He's a good player. I think the value of him right now is as high as it's ever going to be. Not saying we should be trading him, but we should absolutely. If it like, I would say to him right now, right, we're going to offer you a 4-year contract. And by the way, there is no guarantee of you being captain because Sarong's going to be our next captain.
Yeah.
How does that sit with you? I kind of feel like the guy that he is, he'd just go, look, man, I don't care about the captaincy. I just want to, be in a successful team. That's the feeling I get, but I don't know the guy, so who knows. So I'd say, here, 4-year deal. If anybody offers you 5 or 6 or 7-year deal, feel free, go and explore it, and we will facilitate if you want to take that a 5 or 6 ridiculous year deal, like those $1 million a year. Because if we're paying Andy Brayshaw $1 million a year, we are not going to succeed because he is not good enough. He is not. He is not Dustin Martin in his prime. He is not Jeremy Cameron. He's not. So I would personally say that, hey, we'll give you a very solid 700K a year deal, 4 years. We love you. We want you to stay. But if someone's giving you something crazy, well, then let us know, and we will get rid of you this year. We will trade you this year, and we will maximise your value. And then we could end up with bloody 6 picks in the first 20. And honestly, mate, you tell me, if Andy Brayshaw was not playing in our team this week, do you believe that would impact if Matt Johnson was to go into the midfield and spend more time in CBAs, Erasmus started playing, or Erasmus comes in and stuff, do you believe that we would be that much worse off?
Erasmus is probably not the greatest example to use, but I get your point.
He's never given a chance. Who knows?
He's not gonna be as much as a loss as Sarong would be in the middle, and to an extent now Hayden Young, even though he's only been in there a handful of times.
Yeah, my only concern with losing Brayshaw is that he is meant to be the glue. And so what does that do to the rest of the team?
Yep.
But I kind of feel like he is overrated in the industry. He won an MVP or whatever once he got it all. I kind of feel like now, but whoever he went to, let's say if he went to St Kilda, he would not be the player that he would be like Brad Crouch. Brad Crouch is playing in the VFL. And they paid a lot for Brad Crouch. He's playing VFL football. He can't get a game. I kind of feel like that Brayshaw is a Brad Crouch type.
Yeah.
That's me.
I see him a little bit higher, but I see your point.
Yeah. All right. Shall we have a short break, mate? Because
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'll put on a song called you've got the intermission. Welcome to them. So, by the way, last week, my favourite band in the world, I've got this big tattoo on my side, is a band called Filter. And Filter came to Western Australia, and me and my brother paid a bunch of money to meet the band backstage. And this is me and the singer from Filter, and I got this awesome, and Kyle, we've got all this memorabilia signed and all sorts of bits and pieces going on. Kyle's got like drumsticks and all sorts of stuff. So anyway, in honour of what was the 1 week ago today, just the best concert I've ever seen, this is a song called Welcome to the Fold by Filter. Filter, welcome to the fold, and to this day remains probably the best song I've ever seen live. Anyway, yeah, awesome shit. So, general AFL, we've got a few bits and pieces going on at the moment. Charlie Cameron, apparently he's a good bloke, Pete. Going to games. Yeah, good bloke. Yeah. So he got let off on the basis that he had 200 games good behaviour. And then he got this tackle, which did it concuss a guy? I don't know if it concussed a guy or not, but...
No, he got up and he was fine, so...
He was fine, yeah. So, what the fuck is the AFL doing? I keep bringing this back, and everyone destroys me. Oh, you're living in the past, man. Jake O'Meara got a week, and he's not been a dirty player.
Yeah.
He got a week for a tackle that Elliot Yeo did. The exact same tackle. Now, I don't believe that Elliot Yeo should have been suspended for his. I don't believe that Charlie Cameron should have been suspended for his. But the inconsistency. Cameron got a week. Oh, He's had 200 games, good behaviour. No, all right, fine. On that basis, we'll let him off. Jago Mira, I don't believe, had been suspended before. And he got a week for what I believe was a far lesser charge. Elliot Yeo didn't even get cited for the exact same thing. Now, I don't care. I mean, Yo play. I like Yo. Yo's in my dream team. I want him to play because I don't think it's going to matter a shit about what the end result is for the Dockers. But I just don't get. I don't think anyone gets where the AFL is at. Right? They just seem to change and chop and change. Since when has character ever come? Like from 20 years ago, I remember them going off. You know, you get like, oh, I know this guy. You know, he didn't mean to punch me. I barely contacted my chin, and you get those kinds of like mates trying to, or professionals trying to help other professionals out. And now the AFL is actually accepting what you haven't been suspended for 200 years or 200 games. I saw a I saw a post on Twitter about these are the players who had played 200 games who hadn't yet been suspended,
Yep.
who could maybe use the same defence. And I made the quip that, oh, well, none of them are Freo because we're too busy being the guys who are being scapegoated. Like none of our guys, none of our guys qualify because we're too busy being the ones who, everybody else turns the rule against.
Yeah.
You know,
Michael Johnson, which was the first.
yeah, he got 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Somebody tackled a guy into his hip,
Yeah, and he
I
got
believe,
4 weeks.
and
So,
and he caught 4 weeks. Now, I don't like Michael Johnson as a bloke at all, but that one there hurt. The Jago O'Meara one really, really drives me nuts because the guys, I think it was Harrison Petty, his head didn't even hit the ground. It was, honestly, it was the carbon copy of his head didn't even hit the ground. But it was the rule of the day at the time, and they went, no, and you can't sling tackle, you can't do this. All he did was grab the guy and drag him down with his body weight like any other normal person. Like you and I got taught when we were playing footy. Load of garbage.
I guess of the similar sort of thing where, so you got the Butters one where they couldn't see, inconclusive whether it actually hit the head. Now, every angle I've seen hits Bailey Banfield's jaw, like it snaps away.
The best part, the best one is, and David King goes, "Oh, that's a good view. I can't believe anyone did." Is the one where you can see his sweat go. It's like it was like Rocky 3. It's like poof, his sweat's just gone.
Yeah, so they're talking about head sacrosanct and whatever. Like, I don't believe he should have been suspended for that. It was
Neither do I.
potentially a free kick, but like,
yeah, it's just. It's so frustrating. And then Michael Christian comes out and goes, well, I just didn't see that he didn't hit the head. And blah, blah, blah. Mate, be consistent.
Question
If
for
you
you,
hit... Yeah.
without notice.
All right, I'm happy for you.
If that wasn't Butters and it was reversed and it was Banfield hitting Butters, what would the result be?
Week. 1 week. Yep, 1 week. Oh, I truly believe that Banfield would have gotten a week for that.
Yep, absolutely.
Do you believe that?
Absolutely in the same camp. Because I reckon it would have gone the line of, and although he was contesting the ball, he's made accidental contact with the head, or incidental, whatever the word they want to use, with the head, blah, blah, blah.
The annoying thing is that they keep bringing out that, if you are going in hard and you hit the head, you are liable. Yeah. Except for Bailey Banfield.
Yeah.
Because every other fucking incident is like that. I just... And the other one was like Taylor. Like... Is it Shane Taylor? The Taylor,
Sam
the
Taylor.
gun, Santa, right? He knocked himself out, right? There's
Yeah,
absolutely nothing that should come of anything
yeah,
with
absolutely.
that context, right? But if you're going to suspend guys for O'Meara for tackling a person
Yeah,
whose head doesn't hit the ground, he doesn't get concussed, he doesn't have nothing, he doesn't even go off the field,
yeah,
then why wouldn't you suspend a guy running back, also putting that other person in danger? Now, I don't believe that any of that should be suspendable, but I'm tired of hearing that head is sacrosanct and then certain players get away with it because
yeah,
they seem like that they're the player of the month. Butters will win the Brown League this year. You watch.
yeah.
He's
This
a
is the
gun. I
first
love.
week that I've actually heard the media float that, and not just one person. It's been multiple that have been talking about differences in like
Yeah,
suspensions on player basis.
and I believe, I personally believe that Butters is a ridiculously fair player. I don't believe
Yeah,
that Butters is a guy who is hurting people. He's tough and he is hard and he's uncompromising. He is the exact player I want at Fremantle. So
yeah.
I love
That's
Zach
the way
Butters
he
is
attacks every
done.
contest.
Exactly.
Yeah,
He should not be suspended for that.
yeah.
But I'm tired. Like that should have been a free kick based on everything else that's happened recently.
But if he doesn't collect his head, right, that vision would honestly be on the AFL's how to approach a contest. He got
Yeah.
low, he turned his body, like not bumping, blah blah blah.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But here we are. Here we are, as always. And it always seems like Freo is the test case of getting screwed over.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Let's talk some AFL fantasy. This is your time to shine because you are the gun fantasy person.
Not if you look at our current league table. Where I'm languishing in the second half of the comp there, but yeah, I won't go through everything that I had prepared. I sort of went. There was a video I put out yesterday, which is on YouTube. If anyone wants to check it out, I'll sort of skim over it. I guess this week, the priority, I guess, for most people is one, making cash. So no injured players on the bench. Basically, no reds, no donuts. So if you've got a Howes or a who's your who's the other Melbourne player that's out now, Hoare who's injured, or anyone else, you need to get them off. So from there, you're looking at trading the dead weight. So McCurchin now, he break even of 87. He's gone that break even's above the his average, so he's got to pretty much go. And I've got a few options, I guess. So I've looked at everyone below 350k. Probably number one, Closey, if you didn't get him in already, and I know you've got him in. You got him actually before he played a game, which was quite handy there. I only got him in last week. Um, Still nice. I mean, he's 339k this week, so he's cheap enough, but missed the boat on the initial game there. His teammate Graham's the other one, midfielder, um, 327 minus 29 break even. He's averaging 83 as well. So um, yeah, so I guess what to do. I had a bit of a thing there in the video of what to do with. So I've got Newcomb. Now he's averaging 69. Break even
Ouch!
of 109.
It's so painful. You can't have a guy you spend 800 grand on to get 69. It's just
Do you know what
painful.
is even more painful?
What's that?
is it was a last minute change from Steele to Newcomb. Now, in
Yes.
the in the in the video, I had a top five averages for the season. Steele sits fourth on that list with
Yeah.
129,
Ouch.
double what Newcomb
If it
got,
makes you feel any better, Steele only got 87 today.
which is more probably double what Newcomb's going to get. He got 40 on the weekend. So
He's yeah.
I'm at the point now where I'm just going to roll with him. I don't think he can get any worse. He's dropped a lot of coin already. If I trade him, I'm basically locking that poor decision in. I'm just Will Day's back next week.
Yeah.
I'm going to see what happens there with Will Day coming back into the side and see whether he can turn it
I
around.
might
I still think he's a good player.
I might downgrade McKercher to him.
Uh,
Oh, that's so good. I love it. I love it.
uh,
How shit is this game? It's so shit.
uh,
It's so. Uh,
like last week's video, I put on there about the two midfielders to get would be Bont or Andy Brayshaw. Low break evens, the lowest price you're probably going to see, and they both
both
come out
been
getting
garbage.
53 and 78.
Yeah.
I mean, Bont
So
was good tonight, but so were all the rest of the Bulldogs.
Bont wasn't good tonight. I think he got 80.
No, he tongued up.
Did he?
Yeah,
I thought, Lou, he was on like 60 with like bugger all to go. Oh,
mate,
I
he's on
didn't
it.
even. You got one to. All right. Well, there you
I
go.
mean, his break even was still 140, so he's still going to lose cash.
Right. All right. So I'll trade McKercher to him then. um, yeah, no, that good stuff, mate. I know
Yeah. It
it's
was a
tough.
bit of a
I think
lone hit and there, so if anyone's keen, watch the video. It's on YouTube there on the
I
UK
love your
Gaming
work.
channel.
I've been using your work to actually
What go
inform.
against?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I don't know when we play each other, but
Yeah, I might
yeah.
not put a video out that week.
Yeah, I bet you mate. Don't blame you. Don't blame you. Now, for me, look, I mean, I know I'm not the thing, but I've got Classy as my. I got him a couple of weeks ago. His break even is minus 37, and he's averaging 94.5. So he was a guy who I just happened to just get on just randomly because you know how sometimes you have to. I brought in Sam Walsh this week because he's got a break even of 70 because he got 145 last week, and I got rid of Matt Crouch because I was due to get rid of him anyway because I didn't see like he peaked. He wasn't going any further, I don't reckon.
So I reckon if you
And
went back to my pre-season video, I did one on TikTok. I think it was. It was around Crouch and wide in selecting because I reckon the first sign of trouble at Adelaide, he's going to be out of that midfield mix.
yeah,
And
yeah.
now they're already
Well,
talking about Rankin and Saligo getting the midfield minutes. So
well, to be fair, they've been in trouble all year, so it wasn't about his team performance. It was about the fact he got a suspension.
yeah,
In my mind, and then yeah, you're right. I could just they've got to change something up there. So
and this is
yeah, I
what
got
happened
him
last
out.
time when he got out of the side. So
Yeah, and once he gets out, he's not going back in. And then I got Garcia in to sit on my bench for James Jordan. So um, yeah, I'm sitting pretty with like 400k on my bench. So next week I'm going to be. I reckon I'm getting Dacos in, and I reckon I'm getting somebody else in as well. We'll see how we go.
I'll tell you
Um,
who I had as a just quickly before we I guess wrap it up. But Brad Hill I had in there as a mid pricer, 718k. Started the year pretty bad, 150 last week. Dual position, lack of options in the forward line. He again went. What did he go tonight? 98 in a side that got absolutely smacked.
I will never get Brad Hill in my team because that guy will never show up when they need him to. So
Doesn't need to show up for the Saints just for the fantasy side.
no, I get no, but I've had him before. Nah. Oh, I mean, hey, what do I know? I've never won the league, so what the hell do I know? But no, Brad Hill, he's in the Liam Henry basket for me. Never. All right, let's finish this off, mate. It's been a bloody good podcast. Moving forward, we'll try and take some questions and stuff as well, because I reckon we've got a couple of followers here. But now we can go for the Forgotten Dockers section, which is the midfield, and this is my turn. So I've got a few people here who I reckon might bring a smile to your face. I hope they did. I hope they do you because they did me. So what we're going to do is wing, centre, wing, and then we're going to do ruck, midfield.
Righto.
So first wingman, Jamie Morello. Jamie Morello. In the original Fremantle Dockers team, looked brilliant in his first couple of games and then got a jaw broken and never ever recovered from that. Jamie Morello. You remember him. You don't even remember him.
I do remember him, yeah.
Long hair, looked like he looked like McManus, but like good. Like no, it's not quite. But he looked like but he was McMahon. He was the same sort of player as McMahon, gangly, but and then had skills, and he was fast. And the problem with him was that he got this broken jaw, 10-week jaw injury, and then he never ever recovered.
Shit.
Midfield, Cinnamon. Here we go. Your man, Matthew Clucas.
Matthew Clucas.
Yep, Matty Clucas. Garbage football. Yeah, but having said that, garbage in respect to AFL. He would have played 20 odd games, I reckon, and then he won a couple. I think he won premierships with East Fremantle and South Fremantle. He was one of those guys who crossed over. He went for both East and South, and won premierships at both. So he was. Do you remember him?
I do remember Matty Clucas. He had more for his waffle days than with South
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what his parents remember him for too, more than his AFL days. But, all right. You're gonna love this one. I love this one because I played indoor cricket with this guy, Benjamin Cunningham. Ben Cunningham. He was.
I remember Benny Cunningham.
Yeah. So.
Old Claremont.
Yeah, Claremont. He had one game against Essendon where he kicked 3 goals from a wing, and did absolutely nothing ever since. And he he would have played like 10 games, Benny Cunningham, and then he got to, I think he would have been on the Dockers list for 5 years, and then he got delisted, and he was one of the ones where it was right about when you could start paying to play to get ex-AFL players to go into the waffle. So Pure Thunder paid him a fortune to come and play for them. And I don't even think he showed up. I think he got paid a bunch, but he didn't even show up and he didn't actually play a game for them. And that was before Freo were even affiliated with them. I will say this, hell of an indoor cricketer. Good off-spin bowler. Good
the old dance down and reverse.
Yeah. That's my signature move, which didn't work very well. Dance down reverse, sweet. Yep, dance down the pitch reverse. Sweet. No, he didn't do much of that. All right, so let's get on to the ruckman. I had a few options here. I ended up going with Jack Hannah. Jack Hannah. You remember him? The guy who who was crying because he was meant to be getting picked up by Melbourne, and he got told mid practice, actually, sorry, man, it's
I remember that.
Fremantle. Fremantle have picked you up, and he's like, no, and
In the
then like, cause
preseason draft or something, wasn't it?
yeah, it was
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, and he turned out to be fucking shit. Um, a guy, all right, midfield. A guy who I loved. I love this guy. I actually got an A grade on one of my English papers because of this guy, Luke Toyer.
Luke Toyer.
Yeah. Now, I always remember this guy as being a superstar, but he only played like 60 games and he clearly never ever got to that level. He broke his neck one time playing for when he was for Freo, playing for
Yeah.
Subiaco. He took this hanger and then landed on his head and broke a vertebrae or whatever. And then he came back and played one game and then we delisted him. Luke Toyer, I
I
always
thought he played
remembered.
more than that, but yeah, I've always
Yeah,
liked Luke.
his brother Nick played football out of South Mandurah. He's
Fun fact.
dead ringer, dead ringer, dead ringer for Luke. Only probably a little bit heftier. I'm looking up how many. He clearly hadn't run as many laps. I don't believe is what Luke had. Trying to work out, he played 63 games. Luke Toyer, and the last one. Now this guy, ambulance chaser, or his dad is, although he is also a lawyer, he was on the list for felt like 10 years. And he always had hamstring injuries, thigh injuries, whatever. But he was always good enough. Whenever he played, he did just enough. He'd play like 5, 10 games, just enough to get another contract. You know who I'm talking about?
Hmm. I
His
should
name is
know.
Andrew Brown. Andrew Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, his old man's that Brown's.
On the ad.
Uh, yeah, the ad. Yeah, that's his old man. And Andrew is also a lawyer, as I understand it, and seemed like a very good footballer. I reckon he was on the list for 10 years. I reckon he's on the list for 10 years, and I reckon he played like 60 games.
1, 2, 3, 6 years for 29 games.
Wow. Oh, I was close. Or not close at all.
From
So,
02 to 09.
yeah.
He played the
02
most
to
games.
09. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 8 years, man.
So he played all the games. So the games he's actually. I'm just looking at footy wise. So the games he's played. So 2002, 2003, 2004. There's a break. 05 and 06, and then 7, 8, and 9. He's played games. So
So he was on the list for 8 years, man.
wow,
8 years. For a guy that can.
29 games.
He
The most he
always.
played in the season was 04, and that was 14. And then he had
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2.
One.
And none in 5 and 6. Hopefully
Yeah.
we didn't delist him and then pick him back up.
Like Josh Head. Yeah. Um, all right, brother. So, good episode. Yeah, I reckon next week, if we're lucky, well, I'm keen to do one maybe next week as well.
Yep.
Especially after we smack the fuck out of the Eagles, it's going to be so good. Yeah. So happy days. Got anything else you want to get off your chest before we sign off?
Not just if you want to follow us, there's the Twitter handles. I'll put them up on the screen now. The Pistol 17. Yours is rubbish. YCH, I think it is. Is that right?
Yep.
And then I'll put the actual You Can't Handle the Truth one up on the screen as well. If you want to follow that, this will be up on YouTube later tonight or tomorrow morning by the time I get a chance to edit it. But yeah,
Beautiful. Very much encourage people giving us feedback. Rightio. Cheers.